Okay, today I will show you how to take apart the Western Digital Blue Cavalier hard drive. This is a Western Digital Blue 160 gigabyte hard drive, but it should be similar to a Western Digital Blue 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte. They should have the same type of PCB, which you see under there. And to get this off, you need a hexa screw driver, which you see right here. I'll leave it in the video descriptions on where you could buy something like this if you don't already have it. So we need to remove 4 hexa screws. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of those have to be removed in order for us to get the PCB out, or the printed circuit board. These screws aren't magnetized, so you have to remove them manually. So if your hard drive isn't working, if it's not like detected on your BIOS, or if it's not booting up or something, it might be a bad PCB. Something in the PCB is damaged, whether it be the controller or some other component. So you just take these out and you just remove it. At first it's going to be a little bit hard to remove because there's a styrofoam on the bottom, but I removed this before, so it came out easily. So this part right here is what connects to that right there. You see that? And let's see. Okay, so I'll explain to you what is on this board and what you have to take out if you want to repair it, if you want to do a PCB repair. So the BIOS chip is right there, if you can see it, with the 4 solder joints on the top and 4 on the bottom. So there's 8 solder joints. And to remove it, you have to use a heat gun and apply it to those solder joints so you can remove them, and a pair of tweezers to pull it out. And you could just take this BIOS chip out and put it into your donor PCB for the same PCB. And the way you could locate this part is by looking at this part right here. You see that? It says 2061701. I can't see it. Can't see it. My eyes aren't that good. 159 X06 01P. So right there. So you would put Western Digital and that number. That's model number on the back. That's the model number of this PCB, or printed circuit board. And you could go to eBay and you could probably find one for about maybe anywhere from $20 to $30. And if the PCB is damaged, you don't know what's damaged in here. It could be this, it could be the controller, it could be this chip, or any chip in there that could be damaged, which is preventing it to work. So a novice would think you could just replace the PCB and just put it in here and it would work. But it will not work, because the BIOS on every hard drive is all different. So the BIOS saves all the information about this hard drive, like the cylinders, the heads, and everything, all the settings. And they have to be exactly right for each hard drive. So If you just take out this board and put it in, it's not going to work. So what you have to do, the easiest fix would be to replace the BIOS chip and put it into a working PCB of the same hard drive type, and that would make it work. So if you knew how to diagnose the problem of which chip was damaged, then you could just simply desolder the chip that isn't working and solder it in, and your board would work. But if you don't have those diagnostic tools, that's pretty hard to do. So the easiest way is to just remove the BIOS, like I said right there, with a heat gun, pair of tweezers, take it out and put it into your new board. So when you remove it from your new donor board, you have to take the BIOS out of that. Kind of like you have to use a heat gun, a pair of tweezers again, and you have to use a solder wick to get all the solder off, the excess solder off, and then you just put this new chip in that board. You just use some solder, some rosin core solder, and put it on there. Use a pair of tweezers and some rosin core solder and solder it back on, and it's good as new. It works. That's all it is. So let's put it back on. So to put it back on, these contact points have to go on to these pins right there. I don't know if you could see that. I'll do a close-up to these pins right there. So I'm going to get it back on now. Okay, I'm going to get a better camera angle. You just align it and put it back in like this. Okay, there you go. There's like a little tab right there. You just get it in there and it just goes right in. You just screw all the screws back on. It doesn't matter where you put them in first, but just don't tighten them all. Just don't tighten them all when you put them in. Just like leave it a little bit loose first and then tighten them in later. It's not tight yet. Now I'm going to tighten them. I usually tighten the middle first. And don't tighten it too tightly. Just make sure it's firmly in there. That's good. Now it's in. So yeah, but sometimes the fix could be as easy as just cleaning off these contacts right here. Just take an eraser or some rubbing alcohol and clean these parts right here. This part gets dirty. I have a video on that. I'll leave it in the video descriptions. you could just clean that off, and sometimes the hard drive detects, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the damage could be just a whole board, and like I said, you have to replace the whole thing and replace the BIOS chip, and that would be a way to fix it. Okay, thanks for watching.